All right, everybody, welcome back and good evening. I have quickly learned that being a mother and small business owner, and pretty much we do everything at home on our own, and so it's going to be best for me to do evening time. So these videos will most likely be uploaded most likely the same days of the week, but just probably later in the evening, because I'm already a night owl, so why not just roll with that? My mother, me, my children, none of us, we don't come alive till about 9:30 at night anyway, so we're just gonna go with that. But anyway, without further ado, welcome back to the Unconventional Conservative Podcast, where we will discuss and cover all things from political, entertainment, religious, you name it, we gonna talk about it. But other than that, if you could turn on all the notifications, turn on that bell, one of the corners up there, subscribe, like, comment, share, do all the things you know you're supposed to do so we can get her up in there and get her up in the algorithms and get her rolling. But other than that, let's get to it. But anyway, there's not really a major, I guess, political news topic that I really want to cover, but it kind of all falls into the same category, because really what I want to talk about is just basically the power of Satan and watching out for his power. And no, he doesn't have all power, so this is not one of those videos where it's like I'm talking him up at all, because I would obviously not. No. But anyway, I kind of want to discuss more of that, because just from watching videos over the weekend and just everything that's going on in our world, I think we really need to dive more into the power behind this versus it just being other things going on in our world. And if there's one topic that I have experienced a lot of, that is Satan's oppression and I guess suppression. I don't even know the right word to use other than he tried to steal, kill, and destroy my life, and he was almost there, almost did it, but thank you, by the grace of God, are we sitting here today. So I really want to just dive into more of that versus it just being a particular thing going on. Other than the bill passed the Senate and needs to go to the House now. I get these things backwards. So if I've got that backwards, I apologize. Because every time I talk about it, I say it wrong. I know what's going on. And that's a lot of this channel. I may not know the details exactly right, but I get the gist of it. So we go with the bigger picture. We like to see the puzzle pieces put together, not just the individual pieces. So we had that, and then I think I just saw on my phone earlier that Alligator Alcatraz is getting ready to take its first, I guess, inmates. I don't really know if you would call it an inmate, but it is a detention center. So I guess they're getting their first group of people in today. And also, congrats to DeSantis. Got that thing up and going in 8 days. And if I heard correctly, it was all privately funded, and it didn't cost the Florida tax dollar, like Florida taxpayers, any money whatsoever. So that's even more like on the Ron DeSantis train. So Ron, if you happen to ever see this and you're still thinking about presidency, you got one vote. I know you got 2 votes actually, because I know some people. So just letting you know. So if you want to run, please do it. But anyway, but with all that going on, you have obviously everyone who is against all of that, against the big beautiful bill. And obviously there's things within that bill that they're going to have to change. They're not going to be able to just wipe away Medicaid. They're not going to be able to wipe away just all these things. Obviously, they're going to bring it back and make adjustments to where it's going to appease to everyone. It's got to appeal to everyone. But we had that. And then, what was his name? Kohberger? Isn't that his name? Kohberger? The one who, he's on trial right now with he ended up pleading guilty to the case that happened back in 2022. I don't know the words you can say on here or not, but he's on trial for that case that we know of. And if you don't know it, look him up, Zoberger. It'll be probably a top headline. You probably won't be able to miss it. But with all these things going on, and without diving too deep into that, because I know we have enough media and enough news outlets out there that are covering these particular topics in detail, just like the P. Diddy case. There's plenty of outlets out there that cover the everyday news-related topics. And I do want to cover that, just kind of jump over them, but more of in a spiritual aspect, because I feel like that's where the Lord is trying to lead me to. That's what he's been leading me through for the past 20 years. So I feel like that's the route we kind of need to take. But between the Zoberger, everything that's going on, the one thing that I really want to cover is just the power of Satan. And I hate to even just talk about it and cover it, but I feel like it's something we need to cover. It's not something I want to keep highlighting, but it's something we need to cover because I feel like we do the live, laugh, love type of Christianity a lot. And so that ends up, honestly, watering down what the actual word says and what God says and the evil that is actually out there. But coming from personal experience, because just in the last couple of years have I recently finally felt the power of Satan not be crushing me down. And from between weight, alcohol and drugs, sexual impurity, all these different things, hatred, envy, all of these things that I dealt with, struggled with hard when I thought it was just something that was so wrong with me. I'm finally coming to learn that Satan knew me before I ever knew me. No, he did not create me. He doesn't have any of that power. And maybe he didn't know me personally, but he knew me as a human because humans were all corrupted. There's a wide range of different things, but as humans, you're cut it down to a list of maybe 100 things. And yeah, there's probably more than that. But on average, you look at the human population and there's average, 100 different issues that people deal with, whether it's pornography, lust, adultery, or you have other things like addiction, drugs, alcohol, or you have other things where it's like depression, anxiety, all these different things that he doesn't have to know us personally on like our name level, but he knows us as a human. He knows we were created by God. He knows we are fallen just like Adam and Eve were. So we're no different. He's just had more time to perfect his scheme in the way he does his interacting with us. Because whether we like it or not, he does have dominion over the earth. He does have power here to roam in and around the earth. He's not a king. He's the prince of this dominion, because right now, as a fallen world, until Jesus comes back, he gets to have some kind of power. And whether we like to admit it or not, a lot of us, or most of us, have been raised in at least some way that Jesus, that name was brought. We know at least some form of God. We know some form of Christianity. Either we grew up in the Bible Belt, we knew somebody that went to church. There was somebody in your life or around you that you probably knew that either went to church and did that whole thing. But why have I just lost my train of thought? But so we know that's it. We know that whole route, but we need to learn. We need to be aware of the darker side of the world. We need to be aware, not consumed by it, but we need to be aware so we aren't consumed by it. And for the longest time, I thought it was just an issue with myself, but Satan was just using different schemes and tactics to attack me and kind of consume me and control me in a certain way. And I was just talking with my mom earlier today that it's just been in the last couple of years that I really do finally understand what he means, what the Bible means when it says a peace that surpasses any understanding. Because when I tell you, there have been there's not even a word to describe how dark the days have been. To the point of, in the Bible, when Paul's in prison and he's in like the innards of the prison, and obviously it's not today's kind of prison, so it's not air conditioned, all this kind of stuff. It was probably inside a cave, wide, like dark, grimy, moldy, infested, no bathrooms, no water system, nothing. Like the innards is dark and dirty as you could possibly think. That's where he was, but he was still praising God in the midst of all that. But the emphasis on the feeling completely isolated, completely alone, just sitting and rotting within yourself for days on end, and just you can't get out of your mind. You can't, if you could figure out a way to just like set your brain outside of your body just for a few minutes to have a break, you would. And if you could do all these different things to just make the pain go away just for a few minutes, or make those thoughts go away for just a little while, you would do anything you could. And so that's where I think you have addiction, you have depression, you have anxiety, you have all these things that sometimes end up leading to a more permanent decision that can't be taken back. But when you're in your head for so long, it's going to eventually come out in some way, and it's never going to be positive, especially when it's that dark. But it's going to come into a fruition at some point. And at one time or another, the thing that you're probably dealing with the most was at one time the thing that you enjoyed the most within your life, and it brought you friends, it brought you joys in life, it brought you happiness, it brought you a good time, it brought you this and that. And then slowly, it may take years for that back scratching to eventually turn into there's like a little bit of a claw that goes in your back. And at first it's not even just like a stab in the back, it's more of like a deep scratch. And so like it's kind of there, but like at the same time you're like, it kind of feels good. I don't know, it kind of hurts, but then it kind of feels good. But then you keep going, you keep letting that back be scratched, and then eventually at some point it's not a back scratch anymore. The razor blade claws come out and he just stabs you right in, and he's got you. He's literally at that point, you're that claw machine. He's just moving you around, and that's when you're most likely, whatever you're dealing with, you've just fully given into that. You're not even trying to come up with excuses for doing what you're doing. You just know you're going to do it because you don't even care anymore. You hate yourself. You wish it could be over. You're not going to do that. You want to do that. That's all you think about. But yet you can't, because there's something in you that just won't let you do it. There is some little fire still there. And while you're deep down in the trenches and just wallowing in the mud and the grime and just trying to just crawl your way back, at some point or another you will give up. You will give up, and you will release yourself to whatever may happen, whether it be a saving grace or till death do we part. But it's going to be one or the other. There's going to be a breaking point. There has to be a breaking point. And if there's not a breaking point, the struggle is still going to happen. The struggle will always be there. So I don't know what the breaking point has to be. I don't know where you have to create the breaking point, because sometimes it's just so deep within you, it's not going. I think we're so watered down to what the power of God actually is that some of us just feel that we are stuck that way. We are this way. I wish I could change. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. But I am the way I am. It is what it is. But it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be at all. There's a power and a Holy Spirit that far outweighs the power that is controlling you at this moment in time. That power far succeeds, and that power created the other power that is trying to supersede him. It's no different than the garden. It's going to look pretty, because I think we always forget, because I know I forget, that Satan wasn't slithering on his belly whenever he came up to Eve. And on top of that, we don't know how long Satan was interacting with Adam and Eve before he ever even took her to that tree, or really the fall happened. He was sly. But yeah, I think we tend to forget that Satan wasn't some like mystical lizard that was like slithering through the garden. He was an everyday man. He was an everyday handsome man, like our Gavin Newsom. If you look up Lucifer from any of the depictions from like the Renaissance era or any time throughout history, Gavin Newsom looks just like him. He's sly, he's slick, he gets away with what he wants, he hardly ever gets in trouble. It's backwards and twisted. So we probably know several people like that, or several, especially within our government, bigger political area, I guess you could say, is we know quite a few people. We've seen quite a few people that are snakes. And that's why it's just funny that, ironically, we call people who are conniving and lie and manipulate, we call them snakes. And I don't know if that actually came from the Bible. It probably did. Or just ironically that snakes are snakes. But yeah, Satan wasn't some lizard slithering around. He was walking with them. He was talking with them. He was having conversations with them. He was probably spending time with them, helping them out, helping them go gather food and get water or do whatever they needed to. He was probably helping them out, seeming like he was scratching their back, like, I scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of deal. But until we get to a point that it's not a back scratch anymore. And I think, honestly, a lot of what I really want to talk about is I wish I could remember, it was some Facebook account. I'm sure the guy has every social media out there, but I saw it on a Facebook reel. But there is a transgender man on there. I'm not sure if it was man or a man born as a man who's trying to be a woman, or woman born as a woman trying to be a man. I don't know which way it was, but they looked female-ish, if you could. And I don't even want to use that term because it's not female. It looked, female-ish. They had makeup on. But anyway, the part that really stuck out to me is the guy was asking this person questions, and the thing that stuck out to me really, and it really dawned on me, like, that is the power of Satan right there. But the person was sitting there talking, and they were like, why would I ever want to go back to before I transitioned, when I was depressed, I hated myself, I was made fun of, I didn't like the way I looked, I didn't like the way I looked in the mirror. Everything about them as a person, they hated. Inside, outside, they hated themselves as a person. But that didn't just start there. That started way back at some point or another. Father was gone, father was there, but mom wore the pants of the relationship, or dad wasn't there at all, was raised by another man, or the man in their life is the one who hurt them personally and physically. I don't know the situation, but it usually always resorts back to some man in their life who was supposed to be their father. It all can kind of go back to there with our foundation. If we have no foundation, if we have no fatherly foundation, earthly or spiritual, heavenly, whatever you want to call it, if we don't have that firm foundation, we will just blow like tumbleweeds in the wind. Wherever it feels good for a minute, that's where we will go. But the person was talking about, why would I ever want to go back to the person I was before, when I was depressed and I just hated everything about themselves? Why would I ever want to go back to that? And to me, that is a prime example of how you know Satan has a lot of power, is if they can convince someone that trying to defy the laws of God and defy the laws of nature, that they were actually, they're better off trying to do that. It put it so much into perspective of, like, we do not realize, if we do not wake up every day by the renewing of our mind, every day renewing, as in every day we wake up, it is a new clean slate. We have to start over fresh. The fight, the battle restarts like it never has before every single day. If we do not renew our mind every single day, Satan has us. And if he has our mind, then he can control everything about us, because it all starts here. It starts right up in here in our noggin, and before long it's going in how we feel in our heart. Our heart is always desperately seeking evil. Our heart, when we haven't given our heart to Jesus personally for him to come in and let the Holy Spirit consume us, our heart as a flesh human is desperately seeking evil, wicked, fleshy desires. But if he can get in our mind and let our mind and our heart sync up, the damage he can do is almost irreversible. It can feel irreversible. It can feel better to be in the place he's gotten you than what it was before. And if that does not showcase the grab he can have on you, the claws he can have sunk in your back, then it's literally only the power of God, the power of the Holy Spirit that can change that. And I pray for every single person out there that is underneath that kind of besieged of Satan. I pray so hard that you would be released from that, and you would get to experience the full love of God. Because I'm telling you, when you start to finally, and you may think, how can I deny myself? This is all I know. I'm finally feeling like I love myself. I am who I am. I'm finally getting to be the person I've always wanted to be. It may take 10 years. It may take 20 years. You may already be like dealing with it in your mind, but nobody else knows, and you were too prideful to let that be known at any point in time. So it takes longer than what it should take. I know that's, at least for me, it shouldn't have taken as long as it took for me to learn all of that, to learn the grace of God, if I would have just listened a long time ago, but I fought against it so hard because that's the power. That is the power. I was fighting so hard against the grace of God. And for what? For what? There was no point in it. He was waiting to fill me and bless me long before I ever even knew it, and I was fighting so hard against that. And that just goes to show the power Satan has, that we will let things continually go on and get deeper and darker and more twisted to the point where we are visualizing ourselves in a permanent end-all basis all the time. We are texting, we are calling the people who are supposed to help you not make those decisions. We are, when it didn't have to be that. He was standing right there with arms wide open, waiting for me to just fully surrender myself and everything about me. And it has been an unexplainable, I don't even know if that's the right word, unexplainable, inexplainable, whatever word, the past 2 years. I know we don't live in some big fancy house. We don't drive some big fancy cars. It is not a blessed as in a worldly, earthly blessed. But I'm telling you right now, if you will let go of yourself and just look to Him and seek after Him, it doesn't have to be as dark as it is, or it doesn't have to be as confusing as it is, or it doesn't have to be as boring as it is. Life can be way better with way less if you just let Him take it. So don't let the dark days consume you to the point of letting it be a permanent decision, because that's what Satan wants. He wants to steal, kill, and destroy. And if whatever he can do to make that happen, he will make that happen. He is not the creator of life. He is the destroyer of life. He wants to do everything to destroy you, because if he destroys you, that is one less person who can carry out the actual gospel and the good news and help save these dying souls who are just yearning and crying out for an actual love they've never felt before by a father they never had. And so let's not let him keep his claws in us any longer. We're releasing those claws. We're releasing his hold on us, because he doesn't have that power any longer. We will not let him have that power any longer. Our flesh will not be weak. We will not give in. And if we're not even going to go there, there's not going to be a what if. You're not even going to let him get at the what if, because you're just not going to let it happen. But if it does happen, you're going to repent. You're going to seek after him. It's not the end all be all. It's not. And he's going to try to make you think that. But he doesn't have the power over you that he thinks he has. You can let him think he has that power, but you know in your mind that the Lord has you. He has got you. He is holding you in his hand. So where you feel like you're having to try to hold yourself up and you're having to try to search every means necessary to try to find something that affirms who you are, something to fill that void that you know is missing, and you've tried your entire life to fill it, because that void has just always been there. It is a part of you. You don't even know, you may not even know it's an actual void, because it has been so long, and for literally your entire life, it has been for so long that the void is just a part of you. We are born in a void. So we are always in need of a father, of Jesus Christ to fill that void. He is the only one who can fill that. The one who created us, the one who loves us enough to send his only son to die on that cross that we could never do, to pay that price that we could literally never pay, to walk in the wilderness and be tempted by Satan. And we know every time we walk in our wilderness, we give into some form of that temptation. If it's not this one this time, it's going to be something different next time. He's got 22 different avenues he's going to go down that he can take each way. That's the easy route. But you are going to stay on that straight and narrow, and you're just going to follow. You're going to keep your eyes on Jesus. That's it. That's it. That's the only place you're going to look. Because if you don't look there, you sink. You sink. The water takes you in. The boat starts sinking. So instead of just trying to do it on your own and continue trying to change who you are on the outside, because today you're a they, tomorrow you're a she, next week you're a unicorn. Instead of just trying to continually try to find those fleshy, earthly things that are never going to satisfy, let the Lord come into your life personally, and I promise you that satisfaction you have been looking for, it's like the void was never even there to begin with, to have to look for the satisfaction, because you're complete, you're whole, and you've finally have experienced the love that no one on earth could ever give you. And if you experience just that, just a little bit, I promise you, it gets better, and things will start just kind of falling away. It may not even be a hard thing. All of a sudden, if you really start seeking him and you think, well, I can't do that because I'm going to hurt this person, I'm going to do that. If you seek him, I promise he will take care of it. You'll look back and the things that you were once worried about never even crossed your mind again. And I promise you, he will take care of it. You will get to see his hand in every little place that you thought once you couldn't get away from. Everything that you thought was your foundation and you thought was everything about you and your being and everything down to your core, that's who you were. That's not it. It doesn't have to be permanent. That's not who you are. He can come in and completely clean the slate and make you a whole person all over again. So just stop listening to the things of this world. Stop trying to find satisfaction in this world, because it's never going to happen. And no way, because whether will admit it or not at this point in where you're at in your life, whether you're able to admit it or not, that void is still there. So let him just come into your life and fill that void once and for all, and let him take care of you for the rest of time till you return home to him. Let him take care of you. Let him carry you, and see what he can do with your life versus the detriment we end up putting on ours. But I really and honestly, I hate just swish it over, guys. I love you, but I know that kind of went a little bit deeper than darker than maybe what has been the last few episodes or few episodes. But I hope and pray that this helps at least one person out there. I hope it plants the seed for just one person. I may never know it, but my prayer every single time I'm going to step in front of this camera and under this mic, I pray that the Lord uses this channel to reach whoever is supposed to be reached. So if you're out there, just know you are completely loved by me, by God especially, and love you. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. If you can, go do the things again, like, subscribe, share, comment, turn on all the notifications. But love you guys. I'll see you in the next couple of days. Hope you have a great rest of your week. But talk to you later. Bye.